Massive is a 12-bar blues in G minor. What we're doing here is throwing it all in. From the previous 4 progressions we've checked out, we're going to take a little something from every one and just throw it into one massive collection of 12 bars. Let's jump into the first chorus and hear what it sounds like. Here we go. Very cool stuff in here. We're starting off, so G minor blues, we're starting off with G minor 7, bouncing over to the 4 chord in the second measure with our usual suspects when it comes to voice leading and fragmented voicings. And then in bar 3, we get back to the 1 chord for 2 bars. So everything seems squeaky clean. But then we get over to the next set of 4. We jump into the 4 chord, then we drop it in the 5th bar here to a minor 4 chord. Against the root. We saw that first time in Hurricane Allman. You know, it's a very cool sound. So we have a parallel dominant 7 to minor 7 happening in bars 5 and 6. And that minor 4 chord comes in bar 6, not bar 5. We jump back over to the 1, and then what we're going to do is set up a flat 6 dominant 7 in bar 9 in bar 8 with a 2-5 to it. So the flat 6 dominant 7 against a G is an E flat 7. So the 2-5 would be F minor 7 and B flat 7, voiced with our stock voicings, much the same way that we've been checking out 2-5s. You need a refresher on 2-5s, just go jump over to For the Bird, because it's got them all in there. So that bounces over to the flat 6 movement, which we first saw in Gone Are the Thrills. And then we're setting up here a 5 chord in bar 10, dominant 5 chord. You know, it's a harmonic minor sound happening right there. And those changes up above were Dorian sound. So, like I said, we're checking out everything here. Then we bounce back down to the 1. Throw it up a minor 3rd. Kind of another Hurricane Allman type of sound. Throw it up to a minor 3rd. Bring it down a half step to the 2. And get a 2-5 at the end. You know, that's what we're doing for those bouncing 8th notes. Let's jump over to the second chorus and extend upon the chords that we have in the first chorus. So here we go. So taking the 1 chord and shifting it up to the 8th position, we're changing it into that middle 4-string minor 9 that we've been digging on here in these minor blues. And that always nicely voice leads into the 4 chord in the form of a 7 add 13. That's what we have here for C. So G minor 9 to C7 add 13. Get back to G minor 9, and that covers us for the first 4 bars. Jumping over to this 4 chord section in bars 5 and 6. Make use of that 7 add 13 in bar 5, and then in 6 to get our minor 4 chord, introduce something we haven't really checked out yet, but it's a very Dorian-esque vibe. What we have is a minor 9 add 13 in its 3rd inversion, the 7th on the bottom. So it's against C, that's our 4 chord. We have a flat 7, flat 3, 13, and then a 9 on the top. We've seen this chord, but just not in its minor version. You put that 3rd back on there, and we've played plenty of dominant 9 add 13s with the 7 on the bottom. But in this case, it's that. So, you know, a good idea to keep in mind, remember I was saying, if you have dominant chords that are not supposed to really be there, you flat the 5 or sharp the 11, doing the same thing. When it comes to Dorian chords that are kind of not supposed to be there, especially a minor 4 chord, make it a Dorian chord. And to do that, stick in a 6th. And try to always voice that 6th in a way that it's a tritone away from the flat 3. There's that good old tritone again, right? So we bounce back to the 1, in our minor 9 formation. Then we go over here to a minor 7 fingering we checked out for the bird. But instead of going down to the dominant 7 like this, we put that 13 on top to get a nice movement between F minor 7's flat 7 and B flat 7 add 13's 13. Half step relationship. That goes nicely down to the flat 6 dominant 9 chord against the G root. That is an E flat 9, which nicely sets up the D7 sharp 9 to keep that common tone and then move down the stock portion, the 3-note voicing, you know, the fifthless one. And then we'll get to bars 11 and 12 where we do that turnaround that has the 1 chord jump up a minor 3rd. What we're doing here is a drop 3 voicing with the 5th, so the full tetrad for G minor 7, then up a minor 3rd, make it a minor 7 add 11, because we're doing is taking the top note and raising it a half step. Now with contrary motion, we take the top note and raise it a half step, while the bottom portion of the chord comes down a half step to meet in the middle to make another fully voiced tetrad, drop 3 voicing of A minor 7. So to further take the melody note or the top note up a half step, we use the good old D7 sharp 9. Remember, can't go wrong with a 7 sharp 9, especially when it comes to the tail end of a minor blues. All right, let's check out the 3rd chorus. Good stuff going on in here as well. Watch out for the stacked 4s. There's plenty of them coming at you. Here we go. So what's happening here is the 1 chord gets itself 2 different voicings. Starts off with a G minor 7, add 4 and 13. That looks familiar. It's because at the end of blues for Dory, we're using a D minor 7, add 4. The difference here is the flat 7 that's doubled on the top of that chord is lowered a half step. It gives you a 13, and that gives you the tritone between the flat 3 and the 6. And that really gets the Dorian vibe across. From there, you keep that. You drop this top note down to a C9 add 13, the 3rd inversion. We've seen this chord plenty of times. And remember, once we see a 4 chord in a dominant, it voices a dominant chord in a minor blues, we're in a Dorian vibe. So what happens from here is we use a drop 3, but on the top strings, G minor 7. Makes nice movement between these 3 chords. Going over to bar 5, I'm going to use some stacked 4s. So in the last 2 choruses, bar 5 was C7, and then C7 add 13. In this case, we have a C6-9 over A, but check it out, it's a C6-9 with no 3rd. And watch, that's going to come into play because we're going to use the same exact voicing to work as a minor chord. But at this in this juncture, we have 6, 9, 5, and 1, no 3. So it's cool. It can go either way. Push that up a minor 3rd. And you get yourself a C minor 7 add 4, and that covers our candy chord in bar 6 that we've been using, the minor 4 chord. Bring that back to the drop 3 G minor 7. Here's how we can set up the flat 6 dominant chord that happens to bar 9 with its 2-5. This time top string voiced F minor 7 in 1st inversion, and all you got to do is take down the note on the 3rd string a half step, and it gives you a 3rd inversion B flat 9. If it looks familiar, it's because it was played as a D minor 7 flat 5 in minor of the harmonic kind. So there, once again, you can think of it as that, as another minor 7 flat 5 instance where it's giving us a substitute. Except, this time it's on the top string set instead of being on the middle 4 string set. So this sets up the E flat 9 over G. And that nicely voice leads into a 1st inversion 7 sharp 9. They're both in their 1st inversion. Rounding out to bars 11 and 12 where we do our bouncing 8th note turnaround. G minor 9 with an F on the bottom. This chord is a great chord to have in your bag for both dominant and minor blues. And now here in the chart thus far we've had B flat minor something. what we have now is a B flat 6/9, no third. Since we have no third, we can still use this stacked 4. So basically a stacked 4 off of the 6th of the chord that you're intending to use could go either way. So we have G, C, F, B flat, which is 6/9, 5/1, just like it was when we did it for C6/9, no third over A. In that case, it was being used as a sub for C7. Now it's being used as a sub for B flat minor, and it works. Now, just like we did at C6/9, no third over A, and threw that up a minor third, this time we're going to throw this down to minor third and get ourselves an A minor 7, add 4 over E. So here's the 5, 1, there's the 4, 11, and the flat 7. Throw that up to a D7 flat 9 over F sharp. Yes, it's a diminished chord. It's not a sharp 4 diminished. This is a straight up 7 flat 9. The deal here is, remember what I was telling you before when we were first checking this stuff out in minor of the harmonic kind. Here's a D7, raise the root a half step. We're not thinking of it as a sharp 4 diminished. First of all, this is a 5 chord. This is a 7 flat 9. So it's basically a dominant chord with a flat 9 replacing the root. A lot of stuff here. Very massive, very massive. Of all the sounds that a minor blues can be based in, we're starting to definitely see that Dorian is the prevailing sound. We saw it all over the place here in Massive, and now we're going to see it yet again coming up in Hamburger Meat. So let's jump over to there and see what it's all about.